fact that it is currently, what, 90 degrees outside in Illinois? Let's see if we can't do, well, let's see if we can't get me back into the swing of things. I am yet again coming at you through the internet, the one and only indelible Blood Saint, which I still have no idea how to open or close any of these. But today, we're going back to the well. An older character of mine that, quite frankly, needs to get updated. Don't know what I'm going to do with her, but at this point, we're just going back to what's familiar and doing our best to do our best. I know there ain't nobody out there right now, but should anyone come in, how you doing? How's everything coming along with your day? I got out of work earlier, so right now I'm just trying to relax, really. And unfortunately, I don't have a copy of this character that I didn't rig. For some reason, I can't find it, or it somehow got deleted. So now, I'm just going to take the one I had and remove it. Get rid of the character, the skeleton entirely, honestly. It's been a weird time lately. So, oh man. Like, I am not recalling any of this. I haven't been doing this for a month, and already I have just completely lost where I was. Okay. You know what? Name of the game is just go head forward. We're either going to suck a lot or we're going to suck a little. But either way, we're going to suck. We're going to suck at this, and we're just going to keep sucking until we succeed. You with me, internet? Well, whether you're with me or not, you're along on the ride. So, this was bound to it. So I'm going to take a look to see if I can just unbind it. Or it might even be under animations, come to think of it. Okay. You know what? We found a way around it. If we get rid of everything's history, that'll automatically delete it. And then we can just move on from there. Right now, I just need it to... Honestly, I just need it to get back into the groove of things. Not looking to do anything spectacular. Not looking to do anything, you know, off the wall or earth-shattering. Just looking to basically get back into getting things done. I just need something to take my mind off of my current situation. Just clearing the old head, and I figured might as well do that online too, since I spend so much time on the internet anyway. Okay, so those I'm going to assume were parented. So I just need to actually unparent them. Because honestly, I had an idea of working on the villain for my game, but considering I don't know Twitch's policy on, you know, that sort of thing in regards to creating a character and the buff and whatnot, I figured it would be safest to just work on a current character until I can do a little more research into that. Now let's take a look to see if the pieces are still there. Alright, so we seem to have the attire set up, but quite frankly, first thing we're going to do, start getting rid of these handles. Sure as hell don't need them no more. So, we're going to turn off our polygons. Oh boy, I am just, if I didn't know any better, I'd swear I was drunk. Now that the handles are gone, we're going to turn the polys back on. There we go. What's that again? Oh, it's an eye shape. Okay. Now, first off, we're getting rid of the hair. Was not a huge fan of it to begin with, so we're just going to get rid of it entirely. Second, looks like I lost an eye. Maybe that's the eye that was over here. Okay. We're going to... Man. Between me being naturally stupid and it being ridiculously hot in Illinois, I am losing focus quickly. However, you know what? Let me double check something. Okay. I think I turned off the ability to move that. So maybe that was not the best idea. So we're just going to delete that. Get rid of it entirely. Alright, so that can be moved again. There we go. Much better. Now, we got two eyes back to where they should be. We can work on those later. First thing I'm going to do from this point on is change up the look of the character. So we're going to create a brand new material just so I can make something lighter that isn't ridiculously, you know, weird and misshapen. And then we're just going to apply it to everything. Yeah, that'll work. Because for me, everything's a placeholder until you make it final. Why do you think I never got married? Alright. Crass statement aside. Arms, body, head, clothing. Which, who knows, we might even change up the clothing today. I have no idea where this stream was going, so it could literally go anywhere. Alright, there we go. Like, I don't know how much of a recreation we're going to do, but it's going to be pretty extensive, I'm willing to bet. The shoes I'm kind of fine with. We may do some alterations to them later on. The body, we're definitely going to work on the body. But you know what? Again, until we find out some things from Twitch, we're going to leave the overall character as it is. Oh yeah, don't need you right now. But this character had a pet. So you know what? why don't we work on that character's pet? Yeah, we're gonna do that. But first, it's hot. I need a drink. Again, not sure how much I'm going to talk during this stream. In all honesty, I might just work in silence until I decide to say something worthwhile. Which means for however long I'm working here, we could literally be just sitting in silence. You know what, that's boring. No, we're not going to do that. Even if I say something asinine and, inane, it's better than just being in silence. And if I'm just going to keep moving around the camera, I might as well just put on a revolve and just sit here and talk to myself for however long I decide to be on here. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Okay. So, her pet is essentially 90% giant spider. So, we're going to need to make a giant spider. Trying to think of the best way to go about this. First off, we're going to work on the body. And this needs to be something large enough for her to wear essentially as a backpack, but small enough to be worn as a backpack. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's too big. A little bit more weight, but we can trim down this depth. We'll narrow it down some more. No, stick to that. A little more narrow, and then I can just sort of flay it out a bit. While the inner ends here, I can sort of spin out a bit. Well, I keep saying the stupid thing because the stupid thing is what I know. I'm just going to spread the end out a bit more. There we go. How about we use our words and not just babble on inanely about stupid things? But if I do that, I won't know what I'm talking about. Okay. At this point, it's been so long since I looked into spiders, I really am just going off of memory. One thing you would learn about me if I did this enough to give anyone a real impression about my skill level or intellect, you'd understand a lot of what I do, I go off of memory because I am really bad at planning things. And I'm really not boss material. Which is strange because my former job was an assistant manager. And ironically enough, I quit that. Wasn't fired. Actually, a lot of people love me in that position, which I really don't even get that. I legit don't understand that. Okay. So, we've got this. Now we're going to do something similar to the bottom. That's not what I wanted to do. Why did I do that? Because it was dumb to do. That's why I did it. Nope, don't need that. Wrong one. There we go. But in unrelated news, but equally, in my opinion, awesome, it appears that if you're a gamer and you've been interested in the Yakuza franchise, looks like Sony is finally releasing Yakuza, at the very least for the time being, Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami, I think it's called, on Steam. This coming August, I believe. after watching the two best friends play that game, well, they played 0, 5. Yeah, 0 and 5. I think they also played some of Kiwami when they were working with Machinima, but I can't remember that too well. But regardless, after watching them play that game, oh yeah, I knew I had to get that into my life, but I could never afford a PlayStation outside of the PS2 because I work for the state of Illinois, and well, they like to keep us poor. And it turns out now I don't have to try and scrounge and steal a PS4 or PS3. I can just stick to playing on a computer. So I'm super, super pumped about that. So pumped. You have no idea. Okay. Right now we're just doing some rough shaping to try and get kind of a bulbousy look to the carapace. Like just making rough shapes, getting general angles and whatnot put in here. And then after that, we'll move on to like actual fine detailing. Okay. Yeah, I don't need that no more. I can get rid of that. Okay. So we want to go essentially about 2/3 down. There we go. Not to be confused with 3 Doors Down or 3 Days to Grace. Either one of those bands lately, come to think of it. Which is a shame because I always thought 3 Doors Down and 3 Days Grace were awesome bands. If I go crazy, will you still call me your Superman? Which is weird. I love the song Kryptonite, and I'm not a huge Superman fan. I can't stand him, honestly. Friend of mine is a pretty big Superman fan. Well, hell of a lot bigger than I am, to say the least. But quite frankly, when you have a character like Batman, and you're literally a big blue Boy Scout, you just don't appeal to me. You don't. Like, Batman is just awesome incarnate. Superman? He's kind of a cop-out. Dude's ridiculously powerful. And boring as all out, largely because of it. Okay. So, what I think we're going to do is pull these in a bit. And if it looks a little too narrow, yeah, that looks a little too wide now. So now we're going to pull in the ends for the bottom too. Because why not? And strange, my computer is still running at about 45 degrees. This is, of course, assuming that AMD knows what they're doing when calculating their heat. Because Lord knows they have no idea what they're doing when they built this freaking processor. What is this? The FX 80 something or another? 83, 89, 80, who the hell cares? Because to be completely honest with you, AMD just... I've been fine with AMD through the majority of my life. But after this processor, yeah, I'm done with AMD. Now come to think of it, let's go ahead and switch to this. Yeah, AMD, I'm done with them. So the next computer I build, Intel all the way. And considering if I were to switch to the Ryzen set, it would wind up being just about as much as getting or building a Intel computer. There really is no reason why I wouldn't. Okay, where is... There we go. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a spider, but they got, generally, the majority of the ones I've seen have had large bulbs as butts. So that's kind of what we're going to do with this one. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I don't even know what the hell I pressed there. Finding new ways to screw up my own work daily. My father would be proud. Fortunately, that prick's burning in hell. Bitter? Fuck no. I mean, freck no. That's right, we can't swear on Twitch anymore, can we? Course not. Why would we possibly be able to swear like adults? It's not like kids aren't swearing anyway. And that's one thing I never understood. Okay, so you have a kid, and you don't want them to learn bad words. So I'm assuming you don't let your child talk to anyone, right? You just keep your kid locked up and don't allow them to speak to anyone in their age demographic and your age demographic, anyone that's allowed to speak or sign or anything to that effect, right? Oh wait, no, you do? You want them to socialize? Then you kind of have to expect that kid's learning some bad words. Yeah, funny story. People in the world have their own opinions, and they're going to say terrible things because they're human. The whole argument on, oh, well, I don't want my kids exposed to that at this age. So you keep them off the internet then, right? Oh, no, well, I want them to learn things. Apparently you don't. Because let's be honest, there's a difference between, oh, I don't want my kid having sex too early, and I don't want, Billy or Sally learning really bad words. You mean the words that are literally in everything in world society today? In the world, you can find no place that still goes off of the old Quaker, moniker of bad words are naughty. No one cares. And the people who say they care probably swear more than most. Like, it's the same thing with hypocrites going over to high schools preaching about abstinence only. You talk to these people. Look at Bristol Palin. Bristol Palin. You remember her? I remember her. I remember how her mom was running to be vice president along with John McCain. I also remember how during the campaign, Miss Bristol Palin was pregnant without being married to a guy while she was, 16, 17? And then afterwards had the audacity, the blatant audacity to become an abstinence-only advisor, instructing kids to don't do what I did? To which point, okay, first off, I feel you should have a right at that point. If you're going to, have sex, do it. Just be smart about it. And if her mother was a real mother, her mother would have taught her that and gotten her condoms. But, hindsight 2020 is what it is. However, she becomes an abstinence-only advisor, telling kids you should only have sex in marriage. She gets pregnant again with her second child while being unmarried, while telling kids they shouldn't go out to have sex and they should wait for marriage. Okay, now here's a question that I would like to ask. If you're going to sit here and tell people that the only safe sex is to not have sex, now you're a grown adult, you can do whatever you want, that's fine. However, why are any of these kids supposed to take you seriously? Why should any of these kids respect you as an advisor, as an instructor, as anything? Because the first thing I'd be asking is, whoa, you're telling us we're not supposed to have sex, we're supposed to wait for marriage. Was you married to this dude? No? Then isn't your argue kind of mute to us? Like, you an adult, you supposed to have everything together. You supposed to be, have your hormones under control. We have raging hormones that are yelling at us constantly. You're supposed to have that under control. You telling me you can't fight yours when you aren't going through what we going through right now? But we supposed to somehow be able to magically not do this. Get up out my face. Get up out my face. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to tell me to do something stupid that you yourself are not willing to do, why would I do it? Like, legitimately speaking, if you are going to tell me to do a dumb thing without you yourself also doing the dumb thing, I don't need to be listening to you telling me to do the dumb thing. Like, legitimately speaking, I don't need you telling me to do something you are unwilling to do. It's just common sense. If you're not willing to, forego sex, if for no other reason than for your own argument. Keep in mind, it was her job to essentially not get pregnant. Think about that. As an abstinence-only instructor, your entire job is to just, if you're going to get pregnant, be married. Tell these kids that abstinence is awesome, and if you're going to get pregnant, get married. You couldn't do that? Because keep in mind, if I'm not mistaken, she was engaged at one point. The guy she was engaged to was not the father of said child. So that brings on a few questions I think, if I was a conservative, I'd be asking. But at the same time, I have a tendency to look in on the people that I'm supposed to be listening to. Because quite frankly, if I'm supposed to be listening to you, I need to hold you up to a higher standard, is what you're telling me. So the moment that higher standard is broken, I'm going to beat you over the head with it until you either stop talking bullshit or you just get up out my face because you tired of me calling you a bullshitter. It's actually a very, very simple thing. Same thing with robbing a bank. Don't tell me to rob a bank if you yourself are unwilling to potentially go to jail. Jokes is one thing, but if you seriously talking about it, if you not willing to do it, shut up. Just shut up about it. Just leave it alone. Let it ride. Yeah, I'm going to bring the bottom in a bit more. I can already tell I need to find a way to save up the money to get me a portable AC. Because this computer, with the fans I've got set up, this computer seems to be working relatively stable. But that ain't helping me none. And if I connect one more fan to an outlet, something tells me that's going to be a blown Okay. You know what? I'm not going to worry about underneath right now. We're going to try and get this more rounded off. Alright. Since we're going to need to make space for the wings, we're going to start it to there, do 10 here, and then 30 across. That would be 20. That ain't what I wanted. Okay. Okay, that's not too bad. And for anyone observing what I was saying, yes, I did mention that this creature had wings. So for anyone taking note, that is a flying spider that I am currently working on. Thank you for paying attention. And yes, this is what we are doing today. Or for at least to a decent bit. Because honestly, I'm starting a little late. Pardon me, need a drink of water. I wanted to start doing this earlier. Problem is, I started running into a couple of situations where a friend of mine is currently going through some stuff with the U.S. government. Oh, our current president just loves screwing with the lower people, the lower classes, doesn't he? Though honestly, I don't even want to say that it's our current administration. It could have been the former administration that he's currently going through problems with. This just happens to be the administration said problem is coming up in. But we're still looking into it, so hopefully I can help him figure out what's happening. Yeah, we'll bring that in. That's good. So we got the bulbous butt. We got the large back. Now, we're going to do kind of mock-ups on where... We're going to do mock-ups on where arms should relatively be. Oh, I almost forgot. There we go. I love this mouse, but I swear this middle mouse button is the most temperamental thing I've ever had to deal with. I take that back. It's not the most temperamental thing, but it is temperamental as hell. It is temperamental as hell. And we really don't need that big of a radius for right now. Alright, sounds like there was nearly an accident outside. Okay, so no, it'd probably be best if this works off of the object. There we go. Much better. Much better. So we're not just racking these up. Oh, didn't want that. You know, come to think of it, why did that happen? Come to think of it, needed to clear a little bit more than that. Yeah, that would essentially be what the arms would need to flow like. Or at least that's what the upper arms would need to flow like. Okay. So we're getting an idea. No, I don't think we need that. Okay. Okay, so right now we're just going to sort of move these out of the way until we can figure out how the additional placements need to be. And then the actual spider's legs will have appendages at the very ends, which would essentially cover certain parts, because the way the original character is designed, the shirt you're seeing now is not the intended look for the character. The intended look for the character is the creature we are currently working on. The skirt, yeah, that more or less is part of the outfit. That will be altered as well, but yeah. This was an old idea that I had years ago back in college. The whole thing was it was kind of started off as a comic idea, though in all honesty, now that I'm kind of fixated on trying to make games, I do feel like I would want to rather make this as a game franchise as opposed to comics per se. But yeah, in general, this is a very, very old idea of mine. Like crazy, crazy old. Not technically the oldest idea of mine, but yeah, pretty old all the same. Okay. Because I want the front pair of legs and the rear pair of legs to be the longest pair. Okay. Something tells me we might need to extend out the middle segment and shrink up the end segment. So you know what? Let's try it out. I'm not an entomologist, so I'm just sort of spitballing what I want the thing to look like. It's supposed to be a weird grave-eating monster spider thing, so it's not supposed to be a really pretty thing. It's supposed to be a monster. And this is how it will look on the one set for the most part. Then when you flip that over, bada boom, bada bing, same thing. Okay. Yeah, more or less that works. And for anyone out there curious, oh, well, how is this character supposed to do anything with this creature on her back? Actually, it's very simple. She's not supposed to be much of a fighter. She's supposed to be more of a spellcaster. So her standing in the back is kind of what she would need to be doing. So it's not like she needs to run in to fight. Now, because of story details, this creature is going to actually be very docile and very, well trained, largely because of a family member of hers. So the shirt you see her wearing, whenever it needs to leave from her, it largely winds up creating a web that basically goes over her, similar to a shirt. And no, that relative of hers is not, believe it or not a parent. It's her cousin, who is more of a fighter, who is actually, oh, there's so much history that I've designed around him and his people. Why? I don't understand why I decided to go with the game that I went with on my first game as opposed to this one, because this one I've been working on a hell of a lot longer. Well, I know why, because that one would be freaking volumes on volumes on volumes of games. And I'm just now spinning around again. I do that a lot when I have no idea where I'm going to next. Okay. I could start working on the head, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. What I'm going to do instead is we're going to start trying to work on the wings. As soon as I can figure out how I want those to flow. And again, we're not doing anything permanent right now because we're just trying to see how everything is going to flow together. Bird wings, I believe, start off closer to the head. So I'm debating on if I wanted to make it closer or not. Well, considering the size of it, it would need a larger wing. And since I don't want to go with a bug wing, I want to go with something more bat. And of course, I completely... Wait, actually, I think I might still have bat reference. You know what? I can check that later to perfect it when I go through that stage. In the meantime, we're just going to keep trying to plow through. As soon as I get whatever was in my eye out of my eye, take another drink. Life-sustaining water. Okay. Didn't take very long for it to warm up either. Okay. So we're going to just assume we're going to start the wings placement here. But given the size of the creature, it's not really meant to fly as opposed to glide. That's probably a bit too long. Yeah, the wings probably shouldn't be too long, but at the same time, I kind of want them long. I want them long. So it may not make sense, but it will to me. And since I'm the one creating it, that's all that matters. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. That seems about right. Cause I wanted to have more of a predatory bird's wing. That way it can sort of swoop down, but it doesn't fly per se, it's more of a glider. But this way it has more of a ferocious glide as opposed to just say flying squirrel glide. Then again, considering that this is kind of a lighter one of its kind, maybe it will be able to fly slightly. I don't know. We'll leave that up to the Deus Ex Machina of the story. Maybe even have it tied into, certain members of the species, if they happen to possess the ability to fly, that they're able to that they're more special than others. Who knows? We'll decide that if we ever get to that point. We'll decide it when we get to that point. Only then. Only then will we need to care. So yeah, this has turned out as a pretty worthwhile test for the time being. Now for the head. The head, I do believe, should be more of a like ovoid or circular shape. Hell if I can remember exactly though. So you know what? As opposed to building it out of the body, instead, you know what? Second thought. Instead, we'll go ahead and we'll create a test head and just work with that here. All right. Come on. Okay, why don't you want to move? There we go. All right. Nope, not what I wanted to do. See, this is probably why I need a co-host for when I do a stream like this. Because honestly, I can go on about topics. It's just thinking up a topic. Plus, by having a co-host, I'm not just the crazy guy who's talking to himself while he works on weird flying spiders on the backs of women. Wow, when you put it that way, that sounds super creepy. That sounds ridiculously creepy, actually. Well, it's not stopping me from working, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. Okay. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the the actual arachnid kingdom has two mutated frontal arms attached to the sides of the heads of spiders in order for them to essentially secrete poison and or latch on to food, and that's what they drink through. So looks like I'll be adding, you know what, these seem to be the shortest, so let's work with these. Okay. And honestly, for this I would need the side of the head a little more open. Rather than trying to mirror like I had been doing. Like for small things like this, I find it bothersome to do that. For large things like the body, I don't seem to have much of a problem with it. It's kind of weird. Like the mini flourishes, oh yeah, those piss me off. The big things, a little extra work done never hurt nobody. Okay. You know what? I was going to try and go a little longer, but we actually got the majority of what I was looking to sort of Greek out done. much faster than I had anticipated. So I'm actually thinking we might just end up earlier than even I thought. But we still got things we can do. And thus, we're going to keep doing a couple of things just so we can see what the... Yep. Just so we can see what this winds up looking like. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, that's about what I had envisioned. I'll need to go in and take a couple of extra peeks and whatnot at what some of the finer details are. But yeah, that is largely it. Like, the wings are technically supposed to have the top section fold up, the middle section fold down, and this bottom section sort of cross over the bottom of it in order to sort of fold inwards. And then we can work on the actual feet, which would wind up hiding her, her nipples and what have you. And then the rest, the two lower arms and the upper arm, would essentially be to grab onto her to hold on, while the pincers for the neck are within range. The pincers on the creature's head are within range to inject poison into her. Like, it has a multitude of poisons. Some to paralyze, some to kill, some to digest, which basically it's just an acid. But it's docile, so it only uses paralysis with her. Okay. So yeah. We could work on the hair, but I'd rather work on one thing at a time, to be completely honest with you. So I'm probably going to come on in another half an hour to an hour in order to just chill out and play games. So be on the lookout for that. Possibly Nier Automata. Most likely Overwatch. But until then, let's say out.